So, why I choose the 43X. Welcome to Rapid Fire Rundown. Today, we're going to be discussing the Glock 43X, or my favorite concealed carry firearm. Let's have a quick recap of the platform before we move forward into my opinions. So, the Glock 43X is a single stack, 10 round capacity Glock Perfection firearm targeted at the conceal carry crowd. Because it is a single stack, it is, of course, very thin and fairly lightweight. As a quick aside, remember folks, capacity increases weight, which people don't really think about. But that's only if you're really weight focused. On my build, I obviously don't care too much about that because of my dot and my TLR7 sub. But this is designed to be a slimline, lightweight pistol at the end of the day. It features a MOS system, which I will show you on this firearm right here. This is a MOS plate. And on some of the models, that gives you a under Picatinny slot, as shown here. For lights, and of course the MOS optic system allows you to attach a red dot of your choice. On this build, I have a TLR7 sub and a RMR CC with irons forward of the optic, which is generally my preferred way of having my irons nowadays. This is actually a 43 slide up here, not a 43X slide. This right here is a 43 slide that has then been dropped, or a 43X slide that has been dropped on a 43 frame because of their parts commonality, their parts compatibility. I had that 43 milled, so this slide I had this milled and had it attached to a 43 frame, and this 43X lower, as they are compatible. The 48, 43, and 43X actually have a lot of parts commonality between the two of them, basically the entirety of the upper slide, which is a very great benefit in my opinion. Being able to upscale or downscale to your needs is pretty sweet. The 43X is pretty small, but if I want to go even smaller, I can put that prior slide on this 43 right here, and in a few seconds I will have a much smaller platform. And actually, off screen, I can show you guys exactly what that looks like. And just like that, I currently have a 43. And I'd of course be able to put the slide back on my 43X in under a couple seconds. So, the 43X has a 3.4 inch barrel, which is definitely short, but once again, this is a self-defense firearm through and through. It isn't intended for more than, let's say, 50 meters. Although I am actually able to ring steel at 100 yards, but that's more of a testament to the red dot, the RMR on top, and my own accuracy with the trigger than it is really to the firearm. As Garantham says and Lucas say, the gun is likely more accurate than you, and I have found that to be the case. So moving on to the trigger, it is a Glock trigger. I'm going to hold this up so you guys can hear it and hopefully see it. It's a little stiff. I do want to rant on that for a minute. The Glock trigger is known for being awful or unusable, and a must upgrade for many people. Personally, I like the Glock trigger a lot. It has a very defined wall, and a heavy wall at that. It's quoted at between 6 and 7 pounds, which is definitely substantial. Let you guys hear that again. So you bring up the wall, push through that 6-7 pounds, and there we go. You're let off. Here's the reset. Decently set, a little bit long. Decent reset, a little bit long. Anyway, 6 to 7 pounds is definitely substantial, but I carry this appendix a lot of the time. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like a super light trigger hanging over my boys. And I feel a lot safer with a more stout trigger pull, just as an additional safety. That's not to say that you should be worried, even if the trigger is lighter, as long as your trigger is safe and correctly installed, and you don't, of course, pull it, the gun should not go off. But mistakes do happen, so I always err on the side of caution. Also, once you start modifying any internals on a Glock, it really can affect the reliability of the platform, which is why Glocks are well known and liked, really. I would argue the reason actually is, or the only reason Glocks are so popular, is because of their reliability. A lot of other firearms really do beat out the Glock in ergonomics, capacity, features, price. A lot of firearms beat Glocks in many different categories, but Glocks to many people are just the most reliable handgun you can purchase. So back to what I was saying with triggers though, even discounting my soapbox from a moment ago, I actually happen to like the trigger quite a bit on the 43X and the 43 and the 48. I would prefer a light take-up and a hard wall over a trigger like the MR920 in my Roland special video, which has a much more mushy trigger, but a lighter trigger with almost no wall at all, if that makes sense. There's pros and cons to anything. The most important thing is just getting good with the firearm of your choice, and mastering the trigger is a huge part of that. Also, one last aside, the only people that change Glock triggers and complain about triggers are just bad shooters, so it's a joke. Anyway, the elephant in the room with the 43X is of course the capacity. Like I said earlier, this feeds from a 10-round single stack magazine. 10 plus 1 with one in the chamber, of course, which really isn't a lot. Arguably, that is. Many self-defense shootings statistically show that 3 to 4 rounds is more than enough most of the time, but we don't carry to cover most situations. Most of us carry to be prepared for almost anything. 10 is a good capacity, especially from this 43, which has a 6 plus 1 capacity, or the OG shields, which were very popular a couple years ago. More rounds is statistically better. Shield Arms is a company that attempts to fix that issue with their metal mags. They offer 15 rounds in the same exact package as the 10-round OEM mags, nowhere larger than this, which is huge. If you extend 8 inch or so out, it actually goes up to a whopping 20 rounds, which is twice the capacity of OEM. This is very significant, to say the least. I don't actually run those mags, as you can change the mag catch. I'll make a video about those mags potentially next, as there's a lot to say about them, but I don't currently use or recommend them. I am extremely hopeful that the upcoming 15-round PSA mags will work well in the 43X, as it won't require internal parts changing like that mag catch. But we'll have to wait and see for that. So back to my original question on mags. Is 10 rounds enough? I say yes, but I would recommend you carry a spare for the additional capacity and the ease of mind if a mag malfunctions. Most firearm malfunctions really do start at the mags, so an extra won't hurt. They are also incredibly small and lightweight, easily able to be thrown in like your front left-hand pocket. It's probably about the same size as a pocket knife, so very concealable if you do decide to carry a spare. The last topic I want to go over today is the shootability of this platform, of this firearm. The 43X shoots a lot bigger than its contemporaries. In these clips, I am very easily able to reacquire my sight picture after shot recoil. And I'd say it's about 70% as effective as a normal Glock 19 or a similarly sized handgun. It also shoots significantly better than, let's say, a P365 or a M&P Shield, which is of course an opinion, but I stand by it. For what it lacks in capacity and size, the performance of the handgun more than makes up for it in my eyes. And just to reiterate, this will be slightly larger than a P365 or that shield I just mentioned earlier. But once again, the shootability of the platform, in my opinion, makes it well worth it. Also, it doesn't discharge into my leg like my fellow SIG friends out there. It's also a joke. So, the 43X. It's my favorite CCW handgun I have. I will likely get much better or much more videos in the future about this handgun, and I think the handgun will improve drastically once PSA mags, their 15-round capacity mags, come out hopefully in the next couple months, which I will absolutely have a video on. But it's great. Is it right for you? There are many great CCW handguns out there, like the 365 or the Shield Plus or the FN Micro Compacts or CZ Compacts. But if you're looking for my recommendation on a micro compact handgun that shoots phenomenally, but is arguably the most reliable of the options, I'd recommend you look at a 43X. More videos to come on this little gun in the very near future. I'm thinking of having a video where we talk about accessories to really bring that 43X from a micro compact or subcompact into a much more formidable firearm, that being the red dot, light, irons, magwell, not triggers, because we don't modify stock handgun triggers or concealed carry handgun triggers, but a lot more to come on this subject. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.